Greetings, fellow men, Servus Männer, it's Red Bull Germany again, and today I wanna talk a little bit about the carnival parades that we saw this year that were highly politicized. So yesterday I made a video about carnival in Germany in general, which kind of lays the groundwork to today's quick video, so now you know everything about carnival in Germany, of course. And so I mentioned that among many other things, carnival is the time when we can mock our leaders, when we can mock people of power, basically. But Angela Merkel is very smart, because if you criticize Merkel for the refugee crisis, you would basically criticize refugees, and then you're a Nazi, because of course the refugees are oppressed and persecuted. So these poor carnival people, they cannot criticize Merkel. What should they do? So what they did instead is they turned on foreign leaders, of course. And I think at least that this is not what carnival should be about, the political side of carnival. That is, we should take this opportunity to first and foremost have fun and practice our culture and traditions. But if you want to do something about the political part of carnival, why not criticize your own politicians? I think if German people criticized their own politicians this year, they would have had enough material. But of course you cannot do that. So I personally find it really distasteful that they choose to mock foreign politicians so much in this year. That is not really what I like to see. So you see here, for example, from Düsseldorf, Erdogan calls a clown a terrorist. Of course, that criticizes how Erdogan is treating his critics in Turkey, of course. And then you see that Geert Wilders, Marine Le Pen and Donald Trump are basically Hitler, and blonde is the new brown, of course, and Hitler is also shown as blonde, which he wasn't, but who cares. Then, of course, that the AfD, so the nationalists in Germany, are the useful idiots of ISIS, and I have no idea what that is supposed to mean, how the AfD would be useful idiots for ISIS. Maybe if Germans are not nice to radical Muslims become more angry and then they start blowing up stuff. So the logic here is, of course, that all these terrorists are only acting like terrorists because we are not tolerant enough, of course, because there was no Muslim anti-Semitism before the State of Israel, and there was no aggressiveness from the Islamic world before we started mocking them, right? So if we would just shut up, they would be peaceful, right? And also Brexit is basically the UK committing suicide. Sure. And we wish them good luck with that. How funny. And then of course you can see that Donald Trump is raping the Statue of Liberty in the United States, right? So Donald Trump is a rapist and he basically rapes the Constitution and democracy and all that stuff. But then, like in a Tarantino movie where the rape victim strikes back and takes revenge, the Statue of Liberty actually is beheading Donald Trump. So the message is very clear: Donald Trump should be assassinated. That is what these idiots from Düsseldorf are actually saying. And then the SJWs also had their little contribution to Carnival this year. The same thing as we have seen in Halloween in the United States last year, because Carnival with all the costumes and such is the closest thing we have to Halloween, I would say. So they said, of course, that we shouldn't blackface, right? You're not allowed to have a costume as a German that is showing an African person, for example. And also, if you are white, you should not dress up like an Asian person, because I'm a person, I'm not a costume. This is not okay. Well, have you seen cosplay shows in Asia? They dress like anything under the sun and they don't care. And it seems like people who follow the old tradition to dress up like women on Carnival, they are also offending people who choose to dress up like women every day. So apparently there are the real cross-dressers and then there are the fake cross-dressers. And one group is offending the other. And of course, you're not supposed to dress like a belly dancer because that would offend radical female Muslims. And also, if you dress up like a suicide bomber, this offends poor little Abdul. It is just good that trolls online had the right response to this SJW nonsense by just making their own versions of these billboards. Basically mocking German politicians the way it is supposed to be, both from the liberal and the conservative wing. And I think this is really how it's supposed to be. Also, a journalist was mocked. But my favorite would actually probably be the one where they say, I'm a cat, I'm not a costume, this is not okay. So these big carnival parades that I showed in the beginning of the video from Düsseldorf, Mainz or Cologne, I mean these are really big carnival clubs and they know that they have the full media coverage, so they must be PC and they must pander to the current zeitgeist. When you look in the smaller villages, then you see what the average German actually thinks. And this is not a picture of this year, it's a picture of last year. So this is what I've seen here, where they were actually making a paper mache or cardboard World War II tank, and they were writing anti-asylum defense on it with the Iron Cross and the German flag. I think there were several reports for hate speech, and the courts, though, last year they decided that this is actually covered by free speech. It might have been highly controversial, but they did with this tank in no way incite to hatred or call for blood or anything, or just give somebody a bad name. This is basically very extreme mockery or very satirical, yes, and not everyone might find it in great taste, but it is not really dehumanizing anybody or calling for violence. So I was actually really surprised. I thought those people would end up in jail and they would just throw away the key. No, these people on this tank, this anti-asylum tank here, that should protect Germany from the refugees, these people actually went without punishment. But that was last year. Maybe this year things would have been different. Have a great day. Servus, Kameraden.